Well, time is up, but I have some time. Feel free to stay if you need to go. Feel free. Otherwise, we can get into some of the questions. Would you all like to know what happened yesterday with me? So, my teacher has a student who lives in Florida, another part of Florida. And I've known her for over 30 years, maybe. So I visited her because she was on the tail end of her life. And she has COPD. You all know what that is? Yeah. Someone type in the chat box what that is. I can't remember the exact acronym, but basically her lungs are not able to breathe properly. So she's on an oxygen, tube 24/7. And there's a lot of suffering. And her only son was found dead in his apartment. Over a year ago. So this woman's world is collapsed. Great Depression. Lost meaning to life. To live. And she's suffering. And recently her heart rate went down, dropped to 50, early 50, like 51. Usually people should be, 90? Something like that. So now her heart is not functioning properly. She's kind of struggling, weak. She's been bedridden for a year and a half. Can't, she has caretaker at home. So I was with her. We drove 3 hours to go to her. I was asking her, how do you feel? She says, suffering. I said, does the body hurt? She said, it's uncomfortable. So where's the suffering? She says, I want to die, but I can't. So basically she feels the suffering come from she wanting to die naturally. She wants to die. She prays. A lot of people pray to the Buddha for a lot of things. You know what she's praying? She's praying that, you guessed it, probably. She's praying that she can just pass, go, end this life while she sleeps, and peacefully, that she doesn't wake up. And yet the body is still kind of hanging on. So she wants to die and she can't die. She says she's ready. She's ready. But there's something within her that the suffering part. The suffering part. great suffering comes from great grasping. Usually we grasp onto life, we grasp onto friends, we grasp onto our loved ones. Right? And when we can't get it, when we can't get it, suffering. In her scenario, she wants to die. Yes, she can't. She says she's ready, but she's not ready. There's a lot of, tension, hopelessness, dissatisfaction. She's a very strong woman. She's always been. She can't get what she wants. And she, because she has a strong personality, is always a part of her that can't accept what's happening. That's the source of suffering. My teacher doesn't really talk about feeling tones. My teacher talks about discovering what's happening within and put it down. Plus, she's always lived a very privileged life. She never really done an intensive 7-day retreat with my teacher. She's done short 3-day, more relaxed retreat. And she's just been a great patron of my teacher. She's not the real kind of practice type. So, just sitting with her. Couldn't say much. All I said was, there is something to explore as you go to sleep. Take advantage of when she sleeps, when she's lying down. During the day, she sits on a chaise where the upper body is kind of up. She's not flat down. She watches TV, listens to music. She's not really mobile, so she just lies there. So I said, there's something you can take advantage of when you're sleeping. When the body is feeling a little bit more relaxed and at ease. I hope she can take this practice up. And I said, when you're in that state, you go to the feeling tone. This feeling tone of suffering. Because that suffering comes from not getting what you want. So you're not truly ready. You say you're ready to die. You pray you want to die. The Buddha is not some kind of negotiator. Pray the Buddha that you die. So I said, well, you have to look at that. As long as this wanting to get something not being able to get it is present, your body will continue to hang on. You will feel suffering. So as you experience the feeling tone of this not getting what you want, surrender to that. Just release that wanting to get what you want. I told her to essentially give up wanting the way things you wanted. Just completely surrender, give up. Just experience. That hopelessness, helplessness. So she's still fighting it. Hopelessness. I didn't say this to her, so I encouraged her to do that. She was listening very closely. The nurse says she can go anytime. So I'm just waiting for a call, and I drive back and do the funeral rites for her. But hopefully she will be able to practice this. I told her that, what would it be like for you to go in this state of misery versus going in a state of peace, acceptance? I think she heard that. So we'll see. All of us, she's very fortunate. She's been very privileged. She lived a very privileged life. Very fortunate to have known my teacher. Very privileged to have a 24/7 caretaker cooking for her, helping her. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people not be able to afford that. But it's something most precious. It's our practice. It's hard when you're weak. The body no longer listens. Deteriorating. Different organs stop working properly. And then try to practice at that time. Don't do that. The freedom to practice now. To be able to release the tensions that we have inside. Polarities. The Buddha already said very clearly, what is suffering? One of the 8 sufferings is not getting what you want. Separated from your loved ones. And the 5 skandhas is another big one. That means the body falling apart. not functioning correctly. In the midst of that, what is your feeling tone? These undercurrent, subtle moods, attitudes they have. Are we shaped by that? Are we conditioned by that? Dictated by that? Are you free? Are you free? At ease? Is it all good? So, Bo talks about facing challenges, external ups and downs of life. She goes back to it's all good, ground. Yeah. How about when the body falls apart? When your perceptions fall apart? Your heart doesn't pump that much blood. It's kind of struggling, and you feel it. You know. Or just imagine yourself being bedridden or chair ridden for over a year. You need help going to the bathroom. You need help doing everything. Everything you've taken for granted for denied. What will you do? What do you rely on? So, there's a Gong En. I forget which one. What number is it in the gateless barrier? Is it in the gateless barrier? I'm not sure if it's in the gateless barrier. Anyway, there's a Gong En that goes something like this. The sound of the bell. This is in the context of the monastery, of course. Monastery, different things that we do in a monastery are orchestrated by bells and drums. You know, Dharma Talk, the bell will ring, the drum will sound. You know, so different morning service, liturgical practice, all orchestrated by instruments, Dharma instruments. So this koan goes, at the sound of the bell, why do you put on the 7-piece robe? 7-piece robe is the robe that monastics wear for Dharma talk. You know, it's the day-to-day robes. The 25-piece robe is more important rituals. Right? So the 7-piece robe is day-to-day. So in other words, in your daily activities, when it's time to do something, why do you do it? How do you do it? It's a very simple question. But it gets down to the core of our being. Why do we do the things that we do? How do we do that? How do we do them? And to connect it to my friend who's dying. All of you are, I know some of you, Mark, did Mark leave? Mark left. Oh, over there, yeah. COVID, right? Basically, all of you are in good health. Better than hers. I mean, your activities. Why you do the things that you do? How are you doing them? Don't wait till when you're in her condition like that. And it's a little too late. It's a little too late. While you still can do something about your practice, familiarize yourself with how not to be conditioned by words, language, feelings, physical body, external environment. And still be at ease, unseen. Peace of mind. No mind. Free. You all been on retreat, let me see. You all been on retreat with me, most of you. You know how I say on retreat, take a vacation from the past, future, from words and language. Isolate yourself from the body. It's just a method. How many of you remember things like this that I say? You know, that's applicable here. Now you're practicing like this on retreat, voluntarily isolating yourself on the method. But what happens one day? You have to do this because involuntarily, your body doesn't listen to you. It's not yours. It's actually never been yours. And your perceptions, definitely the environment you can't control. Narratives of the past and future. All of these things, one by one. Not dependable, not reliable. What will you do? Our wish to be other than what we are experiencing now. We wish this to be other than what it is. We wish this to be other than what it is. Then suffering. Face it. Be able to free yourself from that. Stay with the method. Right? That would be practitioner. Nothing else matters. If you have learned that nothing else matters, when the crucialest time you're confronted by, what is there? It's just your method. and you're in a safe place, and how you relate to the method. And the sound of the bell. Why do you put on the 7-piece robe? At the sound of the bell of death. What do you do? How you do it? What you do? The bell tolls moment to moment. Do what needs to be done, what can be done, freely. When I was in my 20s, this was 20, my teacher offered my experience when I was 26. But I was working on this. Suddenly this Gong'an came to me in Taiwan. Must have been 24, 23, something like that. I came out of the meditation and I was looking at, this was Nongchan Monastery. I was looking out into the rice fields. Vast open space. There's nothing there. And this Gong'an came. Because there was a sound of the bell. Lunchtime. Boom, boom. I was sitting in meditation all morning. And as I read that Gong'an some time ago, and that came up. And of course, at the sound of the bell, I had to put on the 7-piece robe to go to lunch. Can't show up, just. There's no one there on the second floor town hall. I heard that bell, got up from meditation, looked out to the patio, just feel the vast open, and then that Gong'an came. At the sound of the bell, why do you put on the 7-piece robe? I was putting on the robe because I'm Guo Gu. I went down, had my lunch. And each of you will have to when you face difficulty, struggle, when you're not at ease, you face it frontally. Not be swayed by all the things that come up. You freely, you say to yourself, whatever needs to be done. That's what you need to do. No obstructions. That kind of freedom. You have to arrive at this kind of freedom. So people don't share the same facts. People have their own ideologies. Sound of the bell is tolling. I'm Kitty. Kitty here. That's about the only fact you can have. The world out there, and even this fact, Kitty, you have to come to the understanding who's Kitty. If you can affirm freely who Kitty is, then maybe you have some facts. If we can't even affirm who Kitty is, other people's view on war, this and that, this world is upside down. This world we live is upside down. In the midst of upside down. When the bell tolls, moment to moment, why do you do what you do? How do you do it? Are you free? That juncture when you hear the bell of your life, what will you do? No, please don't wait till we're in a situation where involuntarily, truly helpless. You know, practice it now. Practice it now. In that, put the proper perspective on things. All the difficulty that you experience, you face, people, things, news. What will you do? Are you free? Who are you? You'll be able to love all those around you. Suffer with those who are suffering. In the midst of suffering, there's freedom. There's what you can't do, you can do it. You help. So that's what happened yesterday. All the bells tolling in your life. We have the privilege of this moment being with one another. You have the privilege to be with yourself. in this moment now. You have the privilege to bring forth your method of practice. And you bring yourself to be able to say, it's all good. Do your best to love and help all those around you. To be there for them. Because for you, it's all good. Other people suffering. But be there for those people. This life is short, brief. Okay. Any feedback? Am I playing the flute to a group of ox?
I know a lot of things about myself. I know my age, the color of my skin, my hair. I know lots of facts about myself.
You just come back. When you feel dis-ease, you come back to that. Yeah. You come back to yourself. Ground. Kitty's here. And in the second part that I said, those people at your dinner party, just hug them. I know you're here too. That's what matters.
Can I say one more thing about death?
Yeah.
If I was in that lady's position, I would stop eating and drinking.
Mm. Yeah. She has fear, you see. She has fear. Because I asked her, I said, so the oxygen that flows, she's on the oxygen 24. I said, if you're ready, turn it off when you're sleeping. Say goodbye now. Since it's, what did she say? She says, I don't want to. I said, why not? And she says, it's going to be quite painful. Quite a lot of struggle if I do that. And I'm like, okay. So that's when I started to inquire about this suffering that she's feeling. So I want this, I don't want this. Why can't I be with my son who's dead already? I want to be with him. Buddha, help me die. But let me just keep the oxygen going so I don't. This whole world, East Mountain walks on water. People are like fish fly in the air, birds swimming in the ocean. Topsy-turvy.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm waiting. I mean, she'll probably pass away because the heart at measuring 50, that's pretty low. You know, she's not an athlete. I know professional athletes, they can actually reduce the heart rate to 50 most of the time, so they don't get tired. So when they do like triathlons, their heart is steady, steady, steady. She's not an athlete. So from regular heartbeat to 50 drop like that, heart is struggling to continue pumping blood. It'll probably stop pumping anytime, you know, day, weeks, maybe a month, you know. She'll probably pass away peacefully. But I just wanted her to look at that, wanting this to be other than what it is. The feeling tone. Hopefully she'll be able to do something. For all of you, you can do it right now.
May I share something? I have been where your friend is now with the wanting to die because of a chronic illness that I have. So I've been in hospital, and one of the several moments, you know, times that I've been, there was this very strong sense of wanting to die, and I could have put an end to it. I have an opportunity to do it. So, but I was in a public hospital, and I was together with 6, 7 other women, very suffering. And another one just in front of me, she was younger. We had the same chronic illness, and I felt very strongly, I could see that in this hospital, I cannot go on anymore. No, I cannot go on anymore. And people have fear to say that because people who are healthy cannot understand. And so when I was about to think, you know, in this despair, I know practice, I know Dhamma, but the brain was jammed, everything was going. The only thing was the doctors were trying to save me. Everybody, even though there was very little possibility, they were doing their best. And everybody in the hospital in front of me, this lady also felt like, and I felt very clearly, this life does not belong to me, does not belong to anybody. And so I didn't do that. I just let go. I understood the situation of this great pain. No? So after that, I started to get well. So it's interesting story, but when you were telling the story of your friend, I was feeling, so I wanted to hug her. And I had a strange thought that I would like to share, that maybe she needs to be also with ill people, to learn from other people who are suffering like her, not just from healthy people who are trying to imagine what it's like. Maybe it's just because I was taught freedom and compassion from people who couldn't do anything anymore. And from that day on, death, living has a different sense to it, because I am not ill right now because I take a medication. So at the same time, I'm not really healthy. See what I mean? And everybody is not really healthy, is not really sick, you know? So that just I wanted to say, because sometimes when you see other people who are like you and understand that, something shifts. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you. It would be good if she was around others who are sick in the hospital. But I don't think she would go for that, you know. She's privileged. She gets to stay in her own home, have caretaker. So she's in a bubble. And every day she's feeling this, the boundaries of this bubble and not being able to do anything about it. It's really miserable. You know, she feels suffering. She needs to get out of the bubble. She refused. When a person refuses, what can you do? We can't force her. I wanted to drive her to Tallahassee. 3 hours. I wanted to bring her there. So she's around people and so on. But doesn't want to. Yeah.
I have read, Guo Gu, something that in your talk, one talk that I read, something like, don't try to change people, try to help but not to change. And I am really considering this. It is very important. Yes, don't try to change. To help but not to change. It's very deep, I find, very, very deep when you are in relationship with someone who has a very different karma. Yeah, very.
I'll leave you all with this.
Thank you, Guo Gu, for sharing this very touching story. Sometimes we forget death is there. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.